Introduction to critical perspectives. 6. The reader's perspective. A. Multiple choice questions. 1. Which of the following writers is regarded as a key figure of reader response criticism? A. Stanley Fish. B. Jacques Derrida. C. Ferdinand de Saussure. D. Roman Jakobson. 2. Which of the following statements is true about reader response criticism? A. A reader plays an active role in the meaning-making process. B. A reader is a passive recipient of meaning. C. A reader remains neutral with respect to what he or she is reading. D. A reader does not produce his or her own meaning from the text. 3. According to transaction theory. A. Text and reader do not affect each other. B. The reader is not affected by the text. C. The text is not affected by the reader. D. There is a constant interaction between text and reader. 4. The aesthetic mode of reading is concerned with A. The reader's feelings and emotions. B. The comprehension of information. C. The author's expression of his or her feelings. D. The literary features of a text. 5. In the efferent mode of reading, the reader A. Relates his or herself to the text. B. Focuses on the information of the text. C. Engages in the aesthetic experience. D. Interacts with the text intimately. Extra MCQs. 1. What is another term for reader response criticism? A. Interpretive criticism. B. Formalist criticism. C. New criticism. D. Transactional criticism. 2. What is the main focus of reader response criticism? A. How the author intended the text to be read. B. How a reader responds to a literary work. C. The historical context of the text. D. The formal structure of the text. 3. What was reader response criticism a reaction to? A. Post-structuralism. B. New criticism and formalism. C. Postmodernism. D. Structuralism. 4. According to reader response criticism, who determines the meaning of a text? A. The author. B. The literary critics. C. The reader. D. The formal structure of the text. 5. How does reader response criticism view the role of the reader in the meaning-making process? A. The reader is a passive recipient of meaning. B. The reader plays an active role in constructing meaning. C. The reader's role is irrelevant to the meaning of the text. D. The reader's role is limited to deciphering the author's intentions. 6. What does Louise Rosenblatt compare the reader-text transaction to? A. A chemical reaction. B. An electric circuit. C. A mathematical equation. D. A biological process. 7. According to Louise Rosenblatt, what transforms a set of marks on a page into a text? A. The author's intentions. B. The formal structure of the text. C. The reader's engagement and interaction. D. The cultural context. 8. How does reader response criticism view the process of reading? A. Discovering the meaning given in the text. B. An interaction that constructs meaning. C. A passive reception of stimulus. D. A one-way transfer of information. 9. What is the fundamental premise of reader response criticism? Criticism. A. A text has a single, definite meaning. B. A text's meaning is determined by the author. C. A text's meaning is constructed by the reader. D. A text's meaning is fixed and unchanging. 10. What does reader response criticism shift the focus from? A. The author's biography. B. The formal elements of the text. C. The text to its readers. D. The historical context of the text. 11. What is the primary purpose of non-aesthetic reading? A. To appreciate the form and content of the text. B. To get information or extract concepts from the text. C. To engage in an aesthetic experience. D. To connect personal experiences to the text. 12. What is another term for non-aesthetic reading? A. Reflective reading. B. Efferent reading. C. Intensive reading. D. Aesthetic reading. 13. What does efferent mean in the context of reading? A. Moving towards the center of the text. B. Moving towards the reader's inner world. C. Moving away from a central organ or part. D. Moving towards aesthetic appreciation. 14. What is the focus of aesthetic reading? A. Acquiring information from the text. B. Appreciating the form and content of the text. C. Relating the text to personal experiences. D. Skimming or scanning the text. 15. How does aesthetic reading differ from non-aesthetic reading in terms of engagement with the text? A. Aesthetic reading involves intimate interaction with characters and theme. B. Non-aesthetic reading involves connecting personal experiences to the text. C. Aesthetic reading focuses on extracting factual information. D. Non-aesthetic reading emphasizes formal elements of the text. 16. What type of reading is primarily used for reading a literary text? A. Non-aesthetic reading. B. Efferent reading. C. Aesthetic reading. D. Reflective reading. 17. What does the reader bring into the text during aesthetic reading? A. Formal elements of the text. B. Personal experiences, emotions, and imagination. C. Information from external sources. D. Skimming and scanning techniques. 18. What is the purpose of reflective reading? A. To appreciate the formal elements of the text. B. To relate the text to personal life experiences. C. To extract information from the text. D. To engage in an aesthetic experience. 19. What are some response vehicles used by readers to construct meanings from the text? A. Skimming and scanning. B. Personal identification with characters, plot events, and setting. C. Extracting concepts and information. D. Reflecting on the text's formal elements. 20. According to Lois Tyson, what questions can help readers approach a literary work from their perspective? A. Questions about the author's biography. B. Questions about the historical context of the text. C. Questions about personal identification with characters. D. Questions about formal elements like rhymes and rhythm. B. Short questions. 1. What is read response criticism? How is it different from Russian formalism and new criticism? Read response criticism is a literary theory that emphasizes the role of the reader in interpreting and giving meaning to a text. It suggests that meaning is not solely determined by the text itself or the author's intentions, but is actively constructed by the reader's engagement with the text. This approach focuses on understanding what happens in the reader's mind during the act of reading and how the reader's individual experiences, emotions, and perspectives influence their interpretation. This perspective differs significantly from Russian formalism and new criticism. Russian formalism, prominent in the early 20th century, emphasized the formal aspects of a text, such as its structure, style, and literary devices. It treated the literary work as an autonomous object, detached from its author and readers. New criticism, popular in the mid-20th century, also focused on the text itself and promoted close reading techniques to extract meaning from it. Both of these approaches downplayed the role of the reader, considering the text as a self-contained entity with inherent meaning. In contrast, read response criticism rejects the notion of a fixed, objective meaning within a text. It recognizes that different readers may derive various interpretations based on their unique experiences and perspectives. This perspective shifts the focus from the text to the reader, emphasizing the reader's active participation in the meaning-making process. Reader response criticism is thus characterized by its emphasis on the dynamic interaction between the reader and the text, setting it apart from the text-centered approaches of Russian formalism and new criticism. 2. Why do different readers interpret the same literary work differently? Interpreting literary work involves analyzing its themes, characters, plot, and symbolism to understand its deeper meaning. It considers the author's intent, historical context, and cultural influences. Reader response theory emphasizes the reader's role, recognizing that diverse perspectives lead to multiple valid interpretations, enriching the overall understanding. Different readers interpret the same literary work differently due to several key factors. Each reader brings their own set of experiences, beliefs, values, and emotions to their reading. These subjective elements influence how they perceive and understand the content of the text. Cultural background plays a significant role in shaping one's perspective. Different cultures may have varying interpretations of symbols, customs, and social dynamics depicted in a literary work. Readers may identify more strongly with certain characters or themes based on their personal experiences. For example, a reader who has experienced loss may interpret a story about grief differently than someone who hasn't. A reader's familiarity with literary conventions, genres, and techniques can greatly affect how they interpret a text. A more seasoned reader may pick up on nuances or allusions that a less experienced reader might miss. A reader's emotional state at the time of reading can heavily influence their interpretation. For example, someone feeling sad might emphasize the melancholic aspects of a story. The purpose for reading can alter interpretation. For instance, a student analyzing a text for an assignment may approach it differently than someone reading for leisure. Personal interests, likes, and dislikes can guide a reader's focus. Someone passionate about history may pay more attention to the historical context in a novel. One's political and social beliefs can shape how they perceive themes, characters, and events in a literary work. For example, a person with strong environmentalist views might read an ecologically themed book with a particular lens. Academic or intellectual background, including knowledge of critical theories and literary history, can significantly influence interpretation. Different life stages bring different perspectives. Younger readers might relate more to youthful characters and themes, while older readers may identify with different aspects of a story. Because of these diverse influences, readers bring their own unique blend of perspectives to a text, resulting in a wide range of interpretations. This plurality of meanings is one of the key principles of reader response criticism, which recognizes the reader's active role in constructing meaning from a literary work. 3. How do a reader and a literary text affect or influence each other? The relationship between a reader and a literary text is a dynamic exchange of meaning. The reader brings their experiences, emotions, and perspectives, while the text offers narrative, characters, and themes. Together, they create a unique interpretation, highlighting the active role of the reader in understanding and engaging with the text. A reader and a literary text engage in a dynamic transaction, mutually influencing each other during the reading process. The reader brings their individual knowledge, experiences, emotions, and expectations to the text. These elements shape their perception and interpretation of the content. In turn, the text provides information, stirs emotions, evokes experiences, and fires the imagination. It offers a narrative structure, characters, and themes for the reader to engage with. This interaction is akin to an electric circuit, with both reader and text acting as essential components. The reader breathes life into the text, transforming it from a set of marks into a meaningful literary work. This transaction challenges the notion that a text has an inherent, fixed meaning. Instead, it highlights the subjectivity of reading, where each individual's unique perspective contributes to the meaning-making process. The reader's active role in constructing meaning is a central premise of reader response criticism. This approach shifts the focus from the text itself to the diverse interpretations and experiences of its readers, recognizing that meaning is co-created through this reciprocal interaction. 4. How is aesthetic reading different from non-aesthetic reading? Aesthetic reading and non-aesthetic reading are two distinct modes of engaging with a literary text. Aesthetic reading is primarily concerned with appreciating the form and content of the text. It emphasizes the reader's experience and focuses on feelings, sensations, and emotions evoked during reading. This mode is often used when reading literary works for the sake of pleasure and artistic enjoyment. Aesthetic reading engages the reader intimately with the characters and themes, allowing for an imaginative and evocative experience. It involves an inner projection, where the reader connects the language, form, and content of the text to their inner world of experiences, emotions, and imagination. Aesthetic reading is reflective and intensive, encouraging the reader to reflect on their own life in relation to the text and to appreciate the formal elements like word choice, rhythm, and imagery. On the other hand, non-aesthetic reading, also known as efferent reading, is primarily instrumental. Its purpose is to extract information, understand meanings, or gather facts presented in the text. It treats the text as a means to an end, often used for practical purposes such as gaining knowledge or carrying out specific actions. Non-aesthetic reading is outer projected, focusing on the information in the text rather than the reader's personal experience. Aesthetic reading centers on the reader's experience and appreciation of the text's artistic elements, while non-aesthetic reading is more concerned with extracting information or understanding factual content. 5. What are the reader's lenses? How do they determine the meanings of a literary text? Text. The reader's lenses refer to the individual perspectives, shaped by personal experiences, knowledge, expectations, and purpose of reading, through which a reader interprets a literary text. These lenses play a crucial role in determining the meanings derived from a text. Each reader brings a unique set of experiences and background knowledge to their reading. This influences how they perceive and understand the characters, plot, setting, and themes of a literary work. For example, a reader who has experienced loss may interpret a story about grief differently from someone who has not. Similarly, cultural, social, and personal experiences can greatly impact how a reader connects with and comprehends the text. The reader's lens also encompasses their current expectations and motivations for reading. For instance, a reader seeking entertainment will approach a text differently than one reading for academic analysis. These different purposes will lead to distinct interpretations and responses. Ultimately, the reader's lenses are like filters through which they view the text. They shape the meanings that the reader extracts from the literary work, making each interpretation a unique and subjective experience. This underscores the idea that a literary text's meaning is not fixed or absolute, but rather a dynamic and interactive process between the reader and the text. Best of luck!